and light be with you.
Welcome to Sunday School. We're happy to have you join us today as we take another trip back in time to the Old Testament story of Isaiah. Today we have special guests to tell us the story, and we are grateful to all our participants. Today is also Junior Youth Group, so be sure to participate in that. Eric and Morgan have some activities for you to honor our veterans. If you dressed up for Halloween this week, please send photos or videos for everyone to enjoy. And now it's time to get started with this week's quiz to see what you remember about the prophet Elijah.
Here's this week's quiz. Elijah challenged and frustrated a king named A, Amos, B, Andrew, or C, Ahab. Announce your answer. The correct answer is C, Ahab. In fleeing from Ahab's soldiers, Elijah hid in what ravine? Was it A, Kerith, B, Kimseth, or C, Kingston? Your answer? The correct answer is A, Kerith. Elijah asked the widow he encountered to bake a small what for him, her, and her son, for the three of them? Was it A, a loaf of bread, B, a cake, or C, a serving of falafel, a very popular dish in that part of the world, and still is? Your answer? The correct answer is B, a cake. Thanks for taking the quiz. Hi there, I'm Moses Abraham. Remember me? I was back in week 2 of your Odyssey through the Old Testament. And Nancy and Graham have asked me back again, probably because I just look like the old guys in the Old Testament. And we have another old guy this week. It is the prophet Isaiah. Wonderful guy. And you might ask the question, how are you going to do an interview with Isaiah? Well, I want to tell you about this wonderful new app. It's called PTA, the Prophet Teleport app. All I have to do is type in the name, in this case, Isaiah, and it's just like taking a picture with your iPhone. And then I'm going to hit click, submit, and let's see what happens. So here we go. Isaiah, submit. Here we go. Well, hello, Isaiah. Good to see you. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you. Peace be with you, and thanks for welcoming me to the 21st century again. I've made a few other appearances thanks to this Prophet's Teleport app. It's really quite amazing, and I'm impressed with the things that I've seen and heard, and including the iPhone device that you're holding, and there's nothing like that in the 8th century BCE, I have to tell you.
Well, how about a little interview? Let's go over to the table, okay?
Oh, okay, sure.
Well, Isaiah, one of the wonderful things about this Prophet Teleport app is that it churns out questions and answers. So the interview is all set up. Here you go. There, I printed it out.
Thank you.
So can I get you a water or a Coke?
Oh, water would be great. Thank you.
Okay. There you go.
Now, I have to say, even with this new fluoride stuff you put in this water, I'm still learning about that.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's a lot of things you probably, it's probably just mind-blowing what you're seeing here in the 21st century.
It is.
Stop. Well, here's a question for you. You live in a time where people believe in an eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth, a lot of violent actions, and yet you're a very forgiving person. Why is that?
Well, I think we just need forgiveness. Without forgiveness, we don't have a future or hope. And we all struggle. I know being a prophet is hard. Sometimes you get angry at people, and I know I had a few times I got a little frustrated with people and let out some frustration. Maybe it was a little harsher than I should have been. But I think when we look at God, God sticks with us, and keeps loving us and keeps forgiving us. And so I think that's, we just, what is it? You had a wise prophet in your century, Archbishop Desmond Tutu, who said there's no future without forgiveness.
That's very good. Well, you're certainly a guy ahead of your time. And how is it that in the midst of the wickedness and despair everywhere in your world, you buck the system and preach about hope and justice and compassion and peace?
Well, I think because that's the heart of what God has been calling us to preach about and to live and to create from the very beginning. That's always been what God has been about. Yeah. And that's what we need to do. And
let me just tell the audience that, one of the things that this teleport app causes is the removal of old hairs. And look at that. He's got his original brown hair coming back. That's just amazing. So once again, we thank the PTA app.
Should use it more often, I guess.
But so you also speak vigorously against the worship of false idols. First, tell our kids, what are false idols and why should people avoid them?
Well, false idols are anything that become more important to us than God or one another. They're things, they're possessions, they're wealth, they're just when we put things before people or God.
You think an iPhone could be used in that way too?
It could definitely be used like that.
Even though we've got some good uses of
right.
it. We got to watch how we...
It's how we use it.
Yes.
It matters.
Okay. This may seem like an obvious question for a prophet, but which God do you worship?
I worship the God of Abraham and Sarah, the God of Isaac and Rebekah, the God of Jacob and Leah and Rachel, the God of my ancestors, the God that's still right here with us in this 21st century, still calling us, still speaking, still calling us to love.
Excellent answer. You join us today as we're slogging our way through a global pandemic and we find ourselves in a very divided people. Do you think there is hope for us?
There's always hope. I think the key as people of faith is we've got to live that hope into the world. We've got to be that hope with each other. And we have to, right now, even when we're divided, even when we don't always agree, we have to still love one another and care for each other and see God in each other.
As a prophet, you've had a vision for a Messiah who will do great things and offer radical new ideas about how we should relate to each other. Christians say that you foretell the coming of Christ 700 plus years after your time. Tell us more about why you had this vision.
Well, first of all, I have to say that the vision wasn't my vision. It was a vision from God, and a vision that not just I, but many of my fellow prophets spoke of in your Old Testament. It was a vision of hope, a vision of the world as it could be, a vision of God's Messiah, the one that would come and call us into community together, call us to make a better world.
Very good. Now I have one last age-old question, a very pragmatic one, one that I'm very interested in. How do you keep food out of your beer?
That's a great question. I just my last trip in here, I went to your store, what is it called? Fred Meyer, and I found one of these. I think it was designed. Must be a beard flosser. Must be the name of it. I don't know what you call it.
We call it a comb.
Oh, well, I'm calling it a beard flosser because this is perfect.
Great. Okay.
Just like you floss after you tell your kids to floss after dinner. Use the beard flosser for those of us with beards after meals.
Never thought of that. Well, one last thing. The book of Isaiah in the Old Testament has 66 chapters. Would you please read a short version of your great messages from chapter 2, 3, and 11?
I would be delighted to.
Thanks.
Like many of the prophets, I had a difficult task. God sent me to warn his people that if they did not turn away from their sins and turn back to God, then disaster would befall them. The city of Jerusalem is doomed. Judah will fall, for the people turn against God in everything they do and say. They ignore his commands and disobey his laws. Disaster stares them in the face, and they have brought it on themselves. But I also brought a message of hope. God's judgment would not last forever. One day he would bring peace between nations, between individuals, and in the whole of creation. In the last days, from all over the world, will say, "Let us go to the mountain where the temple stands, to the house of God. He will teach us his ways so that we can learn to please him. God's laws will come from Zion, his teachings from Jerusalem. He will judge the nations and will settle disputes from many peoples. They will turn their swords into plows and their spears into pruning knives. Nation will not take up arm against each other, nor will they prepare for warfare again. Wolves will live side by side with sheep, and leopards with goats. The calf and the lion will feed together peacefully, and a little child will lead them. There will be nothing harmful or destructive on my holy mountain, for the whole world will be as full of the knowledge of the Lord as the oceans are full of water." Hey guys, it's great to be back with you for Sunday school. I had a great week of vacation. Hope you all had a great week too. Today we gather for communion, and we remember on the night that Jesus was betrayed, he gathered with his disciples in the upper room. And as was the custom, he took the bread and he blessed it and he broke it and he gave it to them, saying, "Take, eat, this is my body broken for you. As often as you eat this bread, remember me." And in the same way, after the supper, Jesus took the cup and he gave thanks, gave it to the disciples and said, "Take, drink of this always. This is the new covenant in my blood for you. As often as you drink this cup and eat this bread, remember me." God's love with us always.
Well, you know, Isaiah, one thing they like to do during Sunday school, I'm told, is they like to sing songs. And we have a song today that I think it could have been written for you. It's a song of hope. It's a song of vision for a better world. Would you like to? It's called "The Love of God Will Rise Before the Sun." Would you like to join me in it?
I'd love to.
Okay, well, here's your song sheet. Let me get the music going. I know nothing of tomorrow except the love of God will rise before the sun. The love of God will rise before the sun. Nations shake and earth may quake and storm clouds tend to gather. Trouble seems as deep and dark as night. Shades of gloom and threats of doom I see, but I would rather watch the darkness fade in morning's light. I know nothing of tomorrow except the love of God will rise before the sun. The love of God will rise before the sun. Take it away, Isaiah.
Late I stand and gaze at evening's fading glances, and feet so firmly planted in the sand, to brave the chill and wait until creation wakes and dances with the light that shines to warm the land.
I know nothing of tomorrow except the love of God will rise before the sun. The love of God will rise before the sun. Come along and sing the song and fill the world with laughter. Trust in him who's worth the trust, and then, with heads held high against the sky, we'll take what comes in after. Smile to feel the warmth of love again. I know nothing of tomorrow except the love of God will rise before the sun. The love of God will rise before the sun.
As you go forth, may we remember these words. But to those who wait on the Lord, they shall renew their strength. They shall mount up on wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not be faint.
Well, that was fun today, Isaiah. Did you have a good time? You're certainly enjoying my iPhone, aren't you?
Yeah, this is an amazing device. I had a great time with all of you.
You're playing around with that.
This app is amazing.
Yeah.
How does it work exactly?
Well, okay, so when I teleport you back, I'm going to put in the specific year, like 2716
2716. Okay.
BCE, before the Common Era, before Jesus was born.
Okay.
And then all you're going to do is click and hit submit.
Just hit like the click right here. Submit. Okay.
No!
Submit.
No!
Oops. Well, I guess Moses Abraham, he'll be okay for a couple weeks back in ancient times, and I'll enjoy the 21st century. We'll see you next time.